Okay, guys, welcome to Training versus Coaching. Do your leaders really know the difference? I'm Kelley, the Carbiz coach, and I'll be facilitating this exercise today. This will take 30 to 45 minutes, and at the end of this, we will have a worksheet for you, activity for you to complete, which will help you further the retention from the information in this and create an action plan that will help you implement some training and coaching into the leadership routine of your dealership. So first and foremost, guys, let's outline before we outline the objectives, let me help you buy into coaching by helping you further understand what it is and some of the benefits to doing it at your dealership. So first and foremost, what you're looking at here is the sigmoid curve. Now, I didn't invent the sigmoid curve. It was invented by someone much smarter than me, a guy named Mr. Sigmoid probably. But at the end of the day, the sigmoid curve measures success over time. And what you need to understand about the sigmoid curve is that you are somewhere on this curve. Now, I don't know where you're at, but I'll leave it for you to decide after I explain what this is. So essentially, anytime you start doing something new, you're going to take a dip in success. That's where the curve drops, right? Because you're basically you're consciously incompetent around what you don't know. But as you practice and you keep doing it more and more and more, you get better and better. You start going up on the curve, and at some point you reach a peak or a plateau. And this is where I love to debunk one of my favorite sayings. Have you heard the saying, if you get what you've always done, sorry, if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always gotten, right? That's the common saying that people talk about. At the end of the day, that is a lie, unfortunately. You've been lied to your whole life, and everyone you've said that to, you've lied to them. And the reason is because the sigmoid curve, ultimately, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get less than you've always gotten. Because as you reach the peak or the maturity on the line, if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll get less than you've always gotten, because the rest of the world, even though you're not changing, your process isn't changing, the rest of the world is changing around you, which causes you to go into a decline. Think about the housing market in 2009, right? They kept doing what they've always done, right? Think about Toys R Us. Before they went out of business, they kept doing what they've always done, and did they get the same result? No, they went into this decline and they crashed, and the whole thing went to hell in a handbasket. So it's the same thing with what you're doing. Ultimately, and I don't care if you're a 7-car salesperson, if you're a 50-car salesperson, or if your dealership is selling 300 cars a month, and you've been consistently selling 300 cars a month for the last 3 years, if you have reached a peak, it's not a matter of if, but when you're going to enter your decline. So how do we address it? How do we prevent from hitting the maturity and then basically going into a slow, steady, or worse, a fast decline? We've got to make a change proactively. And a change proactively, yes, you'll take a dip in success. Just like anything new, it's uncomfortable and you're going to become consciously incompetent. But as you practicing it better, this change will cause business growth. So what I want you to understand about coaching is coaching creates big, actionable changes. Sometimes it's all the little actionable changes that happen as a result of the coaching conversations. But at the end of the day, your top producers, if they're stuck at 50 cars a month, but bottom line, they're stuck, and the only thing to make them better is coaching. There's a glass ceiling on training that can only take their skill set so high. One of my favorite sayings is a 20-car sales manager can't train a 30-car salesperson to sell 40 cars a month, but he can coach them there. So coaching can help you turn around underperformers faster, or at all. And it can also, coaching is it also gives you the ability to take your top producers and make them better. And if you're stuck in that rut and you've reached maturity, coaching can help you make the changes necessary to help you grow your business. So again, today we're going to cover understanding training versus coaching, help you learn internal training best practices, and also how and when to coach versus train. So first and foremost, another reason that you need training and coaching as part of your dealership's leadership routine is that there is a massive metric I want to share with you guys that no one really measures. I started measuring it when I was Chief Business Development Officer of my CRM company, because I was able to eliminate turnover, all but eliminate turnover at my dealership through coaching and people development processes. So after becoming Chief Business Development of Drive-Centric CRM, I started tracking turnover. And I wanted to see, what does it cost a dealership whenever they have to hire someone new? Whether it's a green pea, a brand new salesperson, or a seasoned veteran from another dealership, what does it cost you when you bring a new hire into your business? So what I found is there's tangible and intangible profit loss. And I'm going to share some of those with you today. But I don't know if these people are veterans that came from another store or brand new to the business, but what you can see here is this is a real report, and 3 of these people have less than 6 months tenure. So which ones are they? So what you're looking at is volume across the top. Then we have proposal percentage in the middle, and at the bottom we have the final closing percentage. So if you guessed that the lowest closing percentage and highest volume were the new hires, you would guess almost 100% correct. In fact, if you look at these guys, the 3 new hires here at this dealership, and these are real stats from a CRM, you can see they took more opportunities and they closed significantly lower. And this is just one store, but I actually measured this. For many different stores and found and have some hard data to share with you. But at this particular store, these 3 new hires waited on 99 walk-ins versus 98 walk-ins when you add up the 5 veteran salespeople's opportunities. So with this store's metric snapshot, and this is tangible new hire profit loss, hard data on turnover, 197 opportunities at a 41% close. What that means is if all the opportunities had the trained, coached, and tenured employees at the store, they would generate 81 sales. But with this store, the metric snapshot, so 98 opportunities with the 41% close rate from the 5 vets equated to 40 sales. All right. But what you need to understand is that 99 at 15% close, which is what the 3 new hires took 1 more customer than the 5 total veterans did, which is often what we see. Ultimately, guys, this was 15 sales. This is a total of 55 sales. So this store in just 2 weeks, this is 2 weeks of data, lost 26 sales as a result of turnover. Isn't that crazy? And again, it doesn't matter that they aren't necessarily new to the business. These are people that come from other dealerships. They haven't learned your culture. They haven't learned your processes. They're still trying to fit in. So it doesn't matter if they're new to the business or not. So what are some of the intangible new hire profit loss? And by the way, last thing on the tangible side, the new hires generally will take 30 to 40% more business, and then they will close at 30 to 40% less in most cases. So pretty big impact on your business. So intangible, lower customer retention. When employees turn over, customers go with them. Managers spend a lot of time trying to onboard and train new hires and answer all those questions that new hires ask. It really takes away managers' time that they could be doing something more valuable. The office staff puts a ton of effort into hiring and training new hires. Time spent training, again, all that time spent training on how to use CRM and, think about all the time that they don't know how to use the tools you have, and what that costs you. And then damaging the external brand of your business. Every time there's a new hire, it is damaging the external brand of your business, believe it or not. Community reputation, every time turnover occurs and someone leaves on bad terms, you think they're out there telling people how awesome your dealership is? It's a damaged community reputation. It's stressful to your employees. How many times do you hear employees like, oh man, I don't trust this new hire. This guy's skating me or whatever. It's stress. Turnover causes stress for employees. And then there's potential legal complaints. Obviously, every time there's turnover, you run the risk of equal opportunity complaints and all these other legal challenges. I guess that could even go in the tangible column, but lower survey scores. New hires generally don't do as good of a job with customer service. Let's just be real. That can obviously cost you money. And also, again, bad surveys equals lower money, right, from your OEM. The damaged internal brand. Whenever I do my cultural assessment and I'm meeting with dealers, with the managers, and whenever I'm talking to the employees and I hear things like they'll hire anyone with a pulse here. They don't care that they're flooding the sales floor. These are signs of a damaged internal brand, and your internal brand directly impacts the external brand of your business. The internal brand is just as important as the external brand. And when that internal brand is damaged, people feel less than valued. They become disengaged. They don't work as hard, and it becomes harder to get them to commit to the things they need to do every day to grow your business. So those are some of the intangibles. Now, what you need to understand about training and coaching and employees in general. All right. I want you to understand how training and coaching impacts employee motivation. And there's 10 core employee motivation requirements that cause people to enjoy coming to work. First is, am I valued as a person? Second, am I appreciated? Third, am I fulfilled? Am I doing this for more than a paycheck? Fourth, am I skilling up? Am I being challenged? Am I mastering new skills and abilities? Fifth, am I independent? Am I free to make my own choices? Is my opinion valued? Am I autonomous? Sixth, am I developing? Can I move onward and upward in my career? You think it's the same as skilling up, but developing meaning, I'm being groomed for the next role. I can move up in my career as an opportunity. Team cohesion, am I part of the team? Is work fun and enjoyable? Is it actually pleasurable and fun for me? Do I have a leader to model after? It's really important that we have a leader to look up to. And man, sometimes for managers, that's a tough one because it's lonely at the top, right? And then also competition, is there healthy, fun competition? So these are 10 employee motivation requirements that are critical to your employees really wanting to basically maximizing their success for your business. And I'm going to talk to you guys about how training and coaching affects all of these, and you'll see which ones are met by both parts of it. Now, before I dive into it, I want you to understand too, objectives are important. The reason you're looking at this slide is I was a special operations non-commissioned officer. As you can see, there's me on the right. I don't quite, maybe it's on the left on your screen. I don't look like that anymore, as you know, but this is here because, in the Army, in special operations, every sort of mission we would do or be a part of, and keep in mind, I spent 14 months in combat zones, but every mission we were part of, we had an objective. We had something we were trying to accomplish. We never did anything without an objective behind it. So when I asked managers across the country, what are your hiring objectives? What are you trying to accomplish when you hire someone? I almost heard the same thing every time, and maybe you can tell by the picture, to throw them against the wall and see if they stick, right? I want to see if they make it. In fact, over 50% of the managers that I talked to told me that was their hiring objective. But I want to give you guys some better hiring objectives that will help you set these employees up for success and create better employee retention. So first and foremost, objective number one, you should be hiring someone with the goal of making sure that any new employees or new to role employees that you've promoted internally or moved internally have a solid foundation for success. That's goal number one. Goal number two is to ensure new employees or new to role employees are aligned to a mutually agreed upon ramp up time. Okay. That means expectations are set around what they're going to accomplish and when they're going to accomplish it by. And thirdly, and equally important, all employees receiving ongoing support and measurement to ensure that each employee always continues to grow. Those three hiring objectives will make sure that you bring the right people onto the team, that they're set up for success, that they produce the results you're looking for within the time allotted, and ultimately that they never stop growing. And when you set that mindset from the beginning, you can have a team where even your top producers continually want to grow and improve. All right, so first and foremost, let's talk about the first objective, onboarding. This is different from training and different from coaching, but it's a critical part of your people development process. So onboarding is like the foundation, okay? It's like the foundation for the house, all right? It's before the training even occurs. First and foremost, one of my favorite slides, it's all about setting expectations. So, what builds trust? What makes someone know what they should be doing and how they should be doing it? Well, tell them where the van is going before you ask them to get in the van. If I said, hey, get in the van, I have never met you before, by the way, but get in the van, we're going somewhere, you're going to be terrified. But on the flip side, if I said, hey, I talked to your manager, your owner, he said we could go to lunch and have lunch together. There's a 5-star steakhouse down the road I'm buying. We'll be back in an hour. And would you like to go with me? Hop in the van. You're significantly more likely to go with me, right? So when it comes to onboarding, you need to have clear expectations about what it takes to sell cars successfully at your dealership. Those need to be created with you and your top producers. And then you need to set those expectations before you even hire them. Onboarding starts before you hire someone by setting clear expectations. Next, you need to align them to the direction of the company. When people don't have clear expectations, they make up their own. And that's why I've got a picture of this. If I'm on the bus thinking the bus is going to California, and all of a sudden I see it arrives in Colorado, I'm going to be pretty frustrated, and I might get off that bus before it even gets to the destination. So when you're bringing someone into your company, absolutely critical that they're aligned to the direction of the company. And we have a whole separate module for doing that, creating a cultural vision, and how that trickles down into the values, behaviors, and expectations of each member of the team. But really important you do that. Here's an example of a cultural vision. So this dealership, I've been coaching them for over 2 years. We've had amazing wins across the board. But at the end of the day, we're the most trusted dealer group to do business with in Ohio. We're dedicated to each other and our company and our customers. Teamwork is a large part of our culture. We work together as one group to ensure everyone has the tools necessary to succeed. Because of this cohesion, both employees and our customers receive the best experience possible in every interaction. We're hungry for personal and team growth, and as such, encourage each other to behave like entrepreneurs. We're willing to, I'm not going to continue to read, but you see what they've developed here. And again, there's a whole workshop that we have and a process for doing this. But having this vision is critical for getting everyone excited to be on that bus. Those trickle down into expectations and job roles. And what you're looking at here is simply a page, the first part of a 5-page document for a job role for a pre-owned manager for this dealership that we coach. Ultimately, those clear expectations are really important when it comes to onboarding. You also need to help assimilate them into the culture of your store. As you can see, there's a blacked out thing here where the salesman was flicking us off, but we had a culture of fun. That was one of our things. Hard work, dedication. This picture was taken, and it was about 11 at night. We were just wrapping up, and it was not a month-end day or anything like that. But if you looked over at the board, you could see all the appointments that we had set for the day. The culture was aligned to the fun and the team cohesion and the hard work and the dedication. And you can see it in this picture. It's a great example of the cultural vision that we create. So anyone you're onboarding, you want to assimilate them into the culture, make sure they fit in. It's critical. They also need to understand, oops, I skipped a slide. They need to understand the lay of the land, all right? Do a scavenger hunt. When you're onboarding someone, it should be a day-to-day activity. Every day they should have activities that help onboard them, at least a 30-day process, but you need to have these activities. You need to have the, like scavenger hunt, show them where the used car department is, show them where the new car department is, show them where the reams of paper are, where the restrooms are, anything that might make them look incompetent to a customer. It's important that you show them where those things are, the lay of the land. So that's onboarding. Set them up for success, give them that foundation. And then let's talk about training. So let's say we build the foundation, and now we get ourselves this nice house, and then we get a shiny car. A nice house and a shiny car. Training is the shiny car that sits on that foundation in the driveway. Training is shiny. It looks good. It can be fun, whether you do it internally or you do it outside. You bring in an outside trainer, but you want it to be fun and exciting, just like buying a new car that's sitting in your driveway. But bottom line, who should we be training? There's a big misconception in the car business. We should only be training the new hires. Just teach them the road to the sale, and then we're good enough there. So let me share some other people. So new hires who have finished onboarding, that's number one. Employees that are being groomed for a promotion. Guys, knowing that there are growth needs, right? People want to be developing in their career. we should be grooming people for the next line in the organization. And to share a win, when I quit my dealership after becoming the coach I am today, I was able to promote 7 people under me because we were training people that were being groomed for promotion. Anytime that you're one man deep in critical roles with no backup, that means someone needs to be trained in that situation. I can't tell you how many times I run into a dealership who's, the salespeople are frustrated because on their finance manager's day off or their desk manager's day off, they can't get the job done. And it messes up the customer experience and causes all sorts of brain damage. Guys, there's no need for you to be one person deep in any critical role with no backup. This is something that I learned in the Army and I implemented at my dealership, and it made a big positive impact. Anyone who's in a new role within your store. So if I get promoted into finance, I should consistently receive training. And then anytime you guys decide you're going to grow in a particular area, let's say you say, hey, let's grow at our internet leads. Then bottom line, there should be ongoing training in that area as long as you're trying to grow in that area. Okay, so what should you train on? Well, sales process and best practices. Almost everyone does this. They teach people how to sell cars. Software and tools. Not as many do this, but there should be internal ongoing training around software and tools. I got news for you. If you have industry average turnover, the vendors cannot keep up with you. You need an internal training process to train on any of the software and tools you use. How to train and coach. So if you do this, there's very few managers I know that have actually been trained on how to train effectively and how to coach. In fact, very few managers even know what coaching is in our industry, and that's why you're taking this course, right? Leadership development. So few do this as well, but taking your leaders and making them even better leaders. Massive return on that investment. Soft skills, EQ, even fewer do this. Just learning how to communicate, learning how to develop your culture, learning how to have candid and difficult conversations, learning how to de-escalate frustrated customers, or handle dangerous employee situations. And bottom line, guys, soft skills, EQ is the emotional side of conversation. And this is something I promise you as a manager, you're going to deal with this. And it just doesn't happen enough. And then almost no one does cross-department training. But imagine if your service riders knew how to sell cars and got paid to do it and enjoyed it. Imagine if you're, if anyone could fill in for your service people when they needed help. I'm not saying take salespeople and turn them into mechanics, but cross-department training is huge. It really helps the team cohesion and your dealership function at a higher level. So skill transfer, really important because you've got the house and the shiny car, but what you got to understand is transferring a skill process. You can't just read a manual on how to do something and then be able to go do it. A lot of times in the car business, us managers, we're guilty of like telling people how to sell a car and then expecting that they can go do it. You've got to have a skill transfer process. If I was going to teach you to fly an airplane, okay, first I would, teach you how in a classroom setting, right? Then I would show you how to fly it you would observe me doing it. And then finally, I would observe you doing it and make sure you were doing it right. It's just like teaching someone how to drive a stick shift. We've got to train our salespeople, our employees in the same way. All right. So how should I be training? Let me share some how-tos when it comes to training. First off, classroom setting. You should definitely get them off the showroom floor, get them out of their, get them out of their element for a bit and free from distractions. Do skill assessments beforehand. Involve the team. One of the best things I ever did to make my training process at my dealership scalable. This is a huge win if you implement this for you, I promise you, is that you have some team leaders, people shadow the team leaders, and then do strengths-based training. So, who's your best internet closer? Have that person do ongoing training on internet closing. Who is your best person at handling inbound phone calls? Have them do inbound phone call training. But basically, this is a great way to develop them as leaders, help them become better at training people. And also, your employees can only hear how you do it so many times. They will gain so much from having another perspective. Bottom line is this: let your employees pick the training that they want and need most. I recommend, hey, what would you guys want training in? They will buy into the training so much more if they get to pick what training they go to. Then also, look at the metrics, look at the metrics, look at your growth area, figure out what are we going to train people in, but zero in on something and make it part of your process. Create content and materials, don't just wing it. You should have tests for competency. You should have some job aids or scorecards developed. This is something that Car Motivators does when we work with the dealership. We actually, I don't believe in a canned off the shelf, one size fits all thing. So everything we do, as far as training with the dealerships we coach, we actually develop with you guys, and you get to keep it and own it forever. So pretty cool stuff. But yeah, you definitely want to have job aids, right? So if I teach you to do something, I show you how to do it, I observe you doing it, I score you on how you did, and I give you some sort of job aid, like maybe a card that you can keep in your wallet or something you keep at your desk to use as a guide until it becomes habit, excuse me. All right, so some of the benefits to involve in your team. Well, training makes the trainer better. It binds the team. If I train you how to do something, I now take ownership in your success. Absolutely important. It helps identify and cultivate the next level of leaders. It's so important, because when you see the people that are really, if I said, what are your requirements to be a manager for your company? If I heard they've got to be good at training, they've got to be good at coaching, they've got to be good at developing people. Those are some of the expectations I hear. So why not find out who those people are before you promote them and roll the dice, right? And hope you get someone who likes to train and coach and is good at it. So that's key. Employees, again, get multiple perspectives. I mentioned that one already. Duplicates, proven processes that work. If you already have someone excelling in a key area, why reinvent the wheel? Have them teach it, because that's working at your store. So what employee motivation requirements? Of the 10, which ones are met by training? So training helps people feel valued. Absolutely. Does it make them feel appreciated and recognize them? Maybe not. Does it give them new purpose or fulfillment? Probably not. Unless I guess it could technically, if someone really wants to do that for their company. Does it help people skill up? Absolutely. Does it help them become independent, autonomous? 100%. Does it help develop people for their career? No doubt. Does it create team cohesion? It can, yeah, it can, but not too much. Is it fun? Yeah, training can certainly be a lot of fun if done right. And does it develop the leader? Yes, it certainly does. And then finally, competition. Well, you can do training competitions, but at the end of the day, not too much there. But these are the six of the 10 needs are met through training in the way that I shared with you guys. Okay, so why test on training? What's so important about it? So training, what you got to understand, guys, is that when someone doesn't execute, when someone doesn't do what they're supposed to do in the right way or not at all, one of the barriers that is because they just don't have the ability to do it. Just because I trained you doesn't mean you have the ability. So it's absolutely important that you test for competency to make sure that they have the ability to do it. But what else is there? There's, why else might they not do it, right? Well, maybe they don't want to do it. Maybe they don't feel like they need to do it. Will they do it? Just because we train them, we don't know. But I got news for you guys. If training is the shiny car, coaching is the fuel that makes it go. Coaching breaks through the other 3 barriers. Will they do it? Do they want to do it, and do they need to do it? Coaching breaks through those other 3 barriers. Training covers the ability portion, as long as you're testing for competency and verifying that that's the case. So let's talk about how coaching is the fuel that makes the car go. So again, I said it earlier, a 20-car sales manager can't train a 30-car salesperson to sell 40 cars a month, but they can coach them there. So who should I coach? Well, employees that have been tested for competency on training. Once they have the foundation of onboarding, they've got the shiny car in the driveway, and we know they can use that car. Now it's time to coach them. Middle and top performing veterans, people in the middle and top performers, you can make them better with coaching. It's the only way, just like we talked about. Anyone who wants a promotion should receive coaching. Bottom performers, by the way, I don't agree with coaching them out. I want to remove that from the slideshow. So just know that that's not in the equation. Coaching should not be geared at coaching anyone out. But bottom line is this: bottom performers can be coached up with turnaround coaching. Also, all leadership within the organization should receive coaching. There's no question. Every leader should receive coaching. So how do you roll it out? Well, I want you to use the drip method. I call it the car motivators drip method. So first, figure out what each employee wants most. The goal of coaching is to help people achieve what they want most in their career. It's that simple. As a leader, it's our job to know what people want and help them get there. Or recruit them to the cause. You can't win a war with a one-man army, all right? Anytime you start a new process, a new conversation, in the first 5 seconds, the person you're talking to is going to choose a side. They're either going to fight along with you or fight against you. So to get them to fight along with you, to achieve a common goal, all right, you need to recruit them. So share with them what is in it for them if they begin coaching with you. And actually, I have the original recruitment letter that I sent out to my entire team that essentially geared at getting the buy-in around the coaching conversation. So if you email me, feel free to send me an email after you take this course, and I'm happy to share that letter with you so you can even repurpose it for your dealership to recruit everyone to your cause. I individually set expectations around coaching. Coaching is not off the shelf. It's not like training where it's broad brush, one size fits all. Coaching is tailored to each individual. And what that means is we need to coach each individual the way they want it, need it most. So you need to set expectations around coaching, and I've got a list of 10 questions you can ask to do that. Some of them are simply, what would make coaching valuable for you? If you could define the parameters around coaching, what would they look like? How often would you want to receive coaching? What would you hope to gain in our coaching sessions? What should I be mindful of while coaching you? So these are some of the expectation settings around coaching. This needs to be done with each individual. And then finally, persist in making it a priority and scheduling it. Listen, if you don't schedule it, it doesn't happen. It's got to be baked into your routine, into your calendar. And if you're going to take, next you should be taking the 4 types of coaching. There's 4 different types, and every single one of them should be conducted at different intervals and for different reasons, and each one has its own benefits. But ultimately, it needs to be a priority and scheduled. It's got to be part of your leadership routine. So the 4 types of coaching, again, we're not going to dive deep because we do a whole class on this, but aspirational coaching, observational coaching, ABC metric coaching, and turnaround coaching. So let's go ahead and skip through this, but aspirational coaching, you're going to learn what everyone wants most. It's their agenda, their topic. We're going to help them achieve what they want in their career and their life. This will create extreme motivation and buy-in in what you do. Observational coaching. This is going to help you improve the messages of the employee. You're going to see them in action, no different than a golf coach would watch you swing your golf club and point out where you can improve. This needs to be done regularly for every step in your sales process. We have ABC metric coaching. You're going to dive into the metrics within your CRM or other technology tools and ultimately find key areas of opportunity to improve that will help critical players or processes that may be broken improve for your dealership. And this is a very powerful tool because it's so measurable, and you can really improve. Just 1 or 2 coaching conversations a week here can have a big impact on your results. Then, of course, there's the turnaround coaching to help underperformers turn around. And within 30 days, you can turn around over 60% of underperformers if you do this properly. And if it doesn't work out and they end up leaving your team, you are totally protected from any sort of, your business is protected from any sort of EO complaints. Okay, coaching dues. All right, so those are the 4 types. And again, there's a full module on that, which you're going to take, so don't sweat it. But the 7 questions, when you are coaching, you need to ask at least 7 questions before adding value, all right? You're not going to start training or giving them any sort of value or information until you've asked at least 7 questions. Number 2, at the end of your coaching conversation, schedule the next one, all right? Schedule the check-in. Okay, so when would you like to have our next coaching conversation? When should I check in on your results and progress? Schedule that in your calendar or whatever app you use to conduct your tasks. Schedule a check-in. Clarify accountability measures and rules of engagement. And what I mean by that are, hey, why don't we execute on what we are supposed to execute on? Well, no one's ever inspecting what we expect. Let's just be real, all right? So the beauty of coaching is that every coaching conversation is going to create an action plan, and otherwise it's just therapy, right? So coaching creates action plans. And the fact that you're going to ask them, how should I hold you accountable to this? When should I check in? Hey, if you accomplish this, how can I reward you? If you fail to meet these expectations, if you fail to follow through with your commitments here, how do you want me to hold you accountable? So set those rules of engagement with your teammate. And when they know you're checking in, they're significantly more likely to execute on that game plan. And now track your wins, man. When you do check in and they've executed, when they have improved, when they've started that new behavior, that, my friends, is a coaching win. It's the leading indicators. It's the behaviors that will produce the results. Stop focusing on the results, because by then it's too late. The results are already in. Focus on the behaviors, track these things. Just by having one coaching conversation, if that causes a salesperson to publish his website, start a Facebook group, and begin engaging with 30 extra customers a week, bottom line is this: you won't be able to stop the results. And yes, those are real coaching wins that cause the salesperson to ultimately go from 20 to 40 cars a month from one conversation. That, my friends, the behaviors produce the result. All those are coaching wins. And then finally, give yourself permission to learn something new. You guys, we've all been leading through blind obedience our entire automotive career. You didn't learn to coach. You weren't coached. All right. That's why you're doing this now. Ultimately, give yourself permission to fail at this. You're going to mess up your first few 10, 20, 50 coaching conversations. That's okay. I still mess them up, and I've been doing it for thousands of hours. At the end of the day, it's new to you, and you're going to learn something new, and let your employees know that as well. Okay. Coaching wins, these are just a list of the coaching wins. I'm not going to read through them all, but I mean, literally, coaching wins can be massive, make a massive impact on your results. They all add up to create this big, massive victory, right? War isn't won in one battle, but it's all the little battles that add up. It's just like it's a game of inches. Okay, coaching don'ts, all right? Really important, that do not, under any circumstance, ever try to coach your wife. I'm just joking. But seriously, yeah, I've really found that out. You cannot coach your wife. I don't know why. I try my best. She says, are you using your coaching on me? Okay, but jokes aside, guys, don't use coaching to punish people. That's number one. Coaching is not, don't coach people out. Don't try to punish them with coaching. Don't say, it's time for you to receive your coaching because you guys aren't performing. That turns coaching into a negative thing. Coaching is their agenda. You have to understand what their agenda is, and we'll talk more about that during our Drive C3 coaching module. But coaching is always the person you're coaching's agenda, not yours, believe it or not. Don't skip steps in the process, all right? There's a coaching process, coaching framework for a reason, and it's really important you follow the steps in the process. Everyone has limiting beliefs or scams, okay? These are convictions. These beliefs came from results from past experiences. And SCAM stands for stories, cons, assumptions, or mindsets that hold people back. When you're coaching someone and they share one with you, don't go on the attack. Don't immediately start arguing with them to change their mind. You need to coach them around their scams. A common example of this is when I'm coaching salespeople, and I've heard the whole internet leads suck. Our internet leads are bad. Okay, that, my friends, is a scam, no doubt. They are conning themselves into believing that internet leads are bad, okay, that they have bad leads. So that is something you can't just say, leads are good, what are you talking about? That would be attacking the scam. All right, so it requires coaching. So let's talk about the motivation requirements that are met by coaching. So it makes people feel valued. Absolutely, it makes them, you can appreciate and recognize them for a job well done. When you follow up with the coaching action plan, and you see they've implemented it and they've changed their behavior as a result of the conversation, that's your chance to recognize them for a job well done, to get them to repeat those behaviors. Really important. Fulfillment. Coaching helps people find purpose. That's the whole point of coaching, is uncovering what people want to accomplish most and helping them get there. Skilling up. Absolutely. It helps them master new skills. Autonomy. Yeah, people are coming up with their own action plans. They're independent to follow up with them. They're independent to create their own accountability processes. It definitely helps independence. Developing people, coaching, no doubt. Everyone being groomed for promotion should receive coaching at all times. Team cohesion, when your manager's working together, when people are executing on action plans, it will develop team cohesion. Coaching can be fun, man. There's no question. It's crazy. I've got a dealership that has training out from another organization. And they talk about how when we come in for coaching, they line up to coach with us. But you talk about training and they're like, ugh, they try to avoid it like the plague. Coaching is actually fun. And part of that's because it's their agenda. Also, coaching, if you have what are the 3 C's of leadership, right? Do you want a leader to model after? Um, does my manager care about me? Does he have character? And does he or she have competence? Anyone who invests in their people through coaching is demonstrating all 3 of those. There's no question about it. And then finally, competition. Coaching can certainly help steer competition because, hey, let's do a contest. Whoever can, achieve the most coaching wins this month can win a prize. So you can make it fun. So where do I start? All right, first off, read about coaching. All right, bottom line is this: if you don't read about coaching, you won't be able to understand it. It's just like going to school. Number 2, use the Car Motivators drip method. Discover, recruit, inquire, persist in making it a priority, and scheduling it in your calendar. So these are follow the drip method to it, roll it out at your dealership. And again, send me an email, Sean, SEAN, @carmotivators.com, and I'll share my recruitment letter that I use to roll it out at my dealership. And thirdly, hire a coach. For the love of God, why would you ever try to coach people without having your own coach? People reach out to me all the time and they want to be a coach. And I'm like, well, who's your coach? And when they don't have one, that's the first thing I say. So in order to be a coach, you need to hire a coach. If you don't have your own coach, why would I want to? How can you sell coaching if you don't even believe in it yourself? So thirdly, hire a coach. And by the way, if you are going to hire a coach, why not hire one that took their dealership to #1 in the region, that literally became #1 only store up in a down market for 2 consecutive years. I'm talking a 13 to 16% swing to the good, the only store up in a down market through coaching. A coach who helps dealerships set literally records month after month after month. A coach who's there to support you and observe and help you, be your accountability buddy, and just loves watching you succeed. Anyway, if you're going to hire a coach, I'm here for you. Just reach out to me. And it would be my honor and privilege to be your coach. It really would. Now, that being said, I hear this all the time. I can't find good people. It's so hard for me to find good people. But what I want you to understand about finding good people for your business is you don't need to find good people. You've already got them. All right. People are just like a house, just like building that foundation. It doesn't start out a good house, but you've got to build it. Your people are no different. Stop trying to find them. Start trying to build them from the ground up. Give them that foundation through onboarding. Create internal, duplicatable training processes that people enjoy, and that's part of their routine. And then thirdly, and most importantly, create a coaching culture where you develop each person on your team where they want it and need it most. So these are the differences between training and coaching. And ultimately, guys, what I want for you in watching this is that you understand those differences. Bottom line, the differences between training and coaching. You know how to do internal training, coaching best practices. And finally, you know how and when to coach versus train. So listen, my friends, this is Sean Kelley, the Car Biz Coach, CEO of Car Motivators, looking forward to helping develop you and coaching excellence into you and each member of your team. You guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for attending this class.